Hey everybody, how you doing? And in this video today we're going to be doing a deck profile that I'm pretty sure you guys saw coming if you've been watching my channel for a while, and that is we are going to cover the Overdress version of Dragonic Overlord, otherwise known as my favorite unit and the unit that I would always refer to as my avatar in the game. So, the first thing I want to say about this before I get into it, I know there's going to be some people real quickly. Let me find it for a reference. There's going to be some people that might be wondering if I'm going to be covering the Phantom Blaster Dragon deck. Real quickly, I'm not going to be doing a video on Phantom Blaster Dragon right now. The reason for that is it has nothing to do with the fact that I don't like Phantom Blaster Dragon. I absolutely love PBD. I always have. I've played him since he originally appeared in like set 4, I think it was. It's just right now the deck does not have a whole lot of options, and that hurts it. It's a deck that requires you to not make any single mistake, or your opponent can't damage trigger on you a lot, or the deck just kind of falls apart. I think between the two encounters that we got in set 2, I think Overlord's a lot better. I think there's room for a little more creativity. Not much, but enough to where the deck is more functionable. I just am not a fan of the build. I have built it. I have played with it. It's just not... it's not something that I want to mess with right now. I'm going to bet on anything that eventually Bushiroad and us in a newer set in the future is going to give this guy more support simply for his popularity, and we will see him again, and you'll see it then. But right now, the deck has so few options, I really don't see the point, because if you want to see the build, it's out there, and mine wouldn't be too off of it, and I just don't see it as a good thing to do for a video right now. Not that I'm criticizing you if you want to play Phantom Blaster Dragon, because it's like, you know what, if you want to play it and he's your favorite guy and you want to run with him, power to you. I wish you nothing but success. It's just the deck is a little too it's just not ready, in my opinion, to be called one of the top decks or be a contender. But it is a very good budget option if you want a good Cater Sanctuary budget option, and it is fun to play with friends. I just wouldn't recommend it taking it to a major event or playing it in tournaments that you want to do good at. That's just my opinion. So, obviously our ride line for Overlord, we got our Lizard Runner Undu, which has the same skill they all do, and then we have Embodiment of Armor Bar. Embodiment of Armor Bar, whenever you ride Dragonic Nahalem on top of him, you can counterblast 1 and search your deck for any grade 1 unit in your deck and add it to your hand. So this is really useful because you can fetch a perfect guard, you can fetch something, you can fetch your countercharge option, you can fetch, it just gives you some utility, which is always nice. Then we have, and also whenever your Vanguard is Dragonic Overlord and his attack hits, Bar receives 5,000 power for that turn. Then we play Dragonic Nahalem. Dragonic Nahalem's ability is whenever you ride Dragonic Overlord on top of him, you get to call him out to a rearguard circle, which is really nice. And then his other ability is once per turn, you can Soul Blast 1 and get Dragonic Nahalem, and all of your Overlord Vanguards receive plus 5,000 power. I think this guy's going to see some premium play, honestly. He's a pretty good card. So, and then obviously we have the headliner of the show, Dragonic Overlord. So Dragonic Overlord, many different forms, and still my favorite unit in Vanguard. So his abilities, Vanguard, Rearguard, whenever he attacks a rearguard unit, your opponent cannot guard the attack, period. If he attacks a rearguard, it's going to die, as long as the power is equal or greater. And then his other ability is when his attack successfully hits, you can counterblast one, discard one card, restand him, and he gets -1 drive. So you can swing at the rear guard, guaranteeing the restand, or you can swing at the vanguard, and if they let him hit, then you can restand him. He's just he's a pretty good he's pretty good if you know how to use this properly. I've seen some. I did not research any builds on this, by the way. This is just because I've played Kagero and now Dragon Empire. I feel I know Overlord's playstyle very well. But I have seen some matches because I just wanted to see how people were playing this guy. And there are right and wrong ways to play this card. And he's not the best Dragon Empire deck. I think Trickstar gets that, but he can be very successful if you know what you're doing with it. So let's get into our trigger lineup. Obviously, we got our Dragon Empire over trigger. Hitting it with especially Dragonic Overlord is amazing. So that's there. We're playing 4 crits, 4 draw triggers, 3 front triggers, 4 heal triggers. Now, you might be asking yourself, whoa, really? Only 4 crits in an Overlord deck? Are you crazy? There is a way that we get around this. You really need the draw triggers in this deck because you need to get to your pieces. You need to get to the cards that help this deck continue to run. The downside to playing the draw triggers is it does hurt your defensive capability a little bit because they only have 5k shield as opposed to 15. So that's why we also play the new front trigger, because it acts as a 20k shield when you're on grade 3, so you have that. So you can mess with the trigger lineup all you want. There's lots of variants out there. There's people that play, I've seen where they play 6 crit and 6 draw and they don't play the front at all. I've seen people just throw the crits and the draws and the heals in there normally, but it's all up to you. You can go as crazy as you want. This is the lineup that I've liked, so. But I will show you how we combat only having 4 crits later in the video. So we're going to go to the grade 1s. Obviously we're playing our 3 other copies of Bar. We've already covered him, but he is a good card. Definitely want to have him because anytime your Overlord hits, he's only going to get stronger, and that ability does stack. It's not once per turn. Obviously we're playing 4 perfect guards. Because, you know, perfect guards are perfect guards, and we're using, using them because it also gives us a little more defensive capability, which, like I said, that is one of this deck's weaknesses, is its lack of defense, but fortunately, we have perfect guards to at least help some. 4 copies of Dragon Monk Gojo. This deck does counter blast a fair amount, so you want your countercharging option available to you. Gojo's effect is whenever he boosts a successful attack against against your opponent's vanguard, you can retire him and countercharge 1. So you do have that. For these last 2 slots, there's a lot of things you can make them. Some people play the grade 1 pitch dragon that you play in Trick Stars, which is an option. Me though, I'm playing 2 copies of Stealth Dragon Tensa Sheed. This is the one where if he boosts a successful attack against your opponent's vanguard, you can counterblast 1, retire him, and then search your deck for whatever is on your vanguard circle. So you can search out another copy of your Dragonic Overlord from your deck, so you can overdress him on the following turn. And it adds a little bit of on-hit pressure to your opponent, so they might guard this. So that's what I play in that last option, or last slot. for grade 2s, we're playing our other 3 copies of Dragonic and Harlem, just because he's such a good versatile card, especially on the rear guard. Helps us power up the our Overlord and himself. But then we also play 4 copies of Berserk Dragon. I'm really glad Berserk Dragon returned too, because I really just love Berserk Dragon, always have. So Berserk Dragon's skill is when he's on the rear guard, when he attacks, if you have Overlord Vanguard, he gets plus 5,000 power, and then you can counterblast 1 to retire one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards. So brings back that old school Kagero control. So he is a really good card. So on Persona Ride turns, he'll swing for 25 by himself, so that's really nice. And then we play 3 copies of Crust Rock Dragon. A lot of people in this final grade 2 slot, they'll play that grade 2 from set 1 that's just the 15k swinger. I can't remember his name. He's a Nubatama themed card, and his name's hard to pronounce for me. But I really like this guy because if you're playing against something like Magnolia, where the units that can really hurt you sit in the back row, you can play this and move it up to the front and attack it. If you don't have something that can pop it. So I like this just to have it as a backup option if there's something in the back row that you want to get rid of, but you don't have a retire skill available to you at that moment. So that's why I like him. And also, just for the record, I don't think I said this, he can only take one of your opponent's rear guards and move it to an open circle. So keep that in mind. So, obviously, for the rest of our grade 3s, no surprise here, we're playing 3 more copies of Dragonic Overlord in the main build, because, duh. And then, the card that, I'm not saying other Overlord players aren't playing it, but, like I said, I didn't research builds of this. I only watched a couple of matches of people playing the deck, and I didn't really pay attention to what they were playing or what they weren't playing, but I never saw this card. And I play 4 copies of Penetrate Dragon Tribash. Now, the reason this card I think is good, and I think people, especially Overlord players, might be overlooking it, is the fact that this basically gives your Overlord a crit. And it's a very easy condition to meet. So his ability is when he's on the rear guard, if your Vanguard attacks and your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, you can put this unit into your soul, and your Vanguard receives +1 critical until the end of that battle. So, since you're playing a deck that does retire, this is a very good card. I think this this is a pretty good tech. I think this might actually it might even see a little bit of dabble play in premium, maybe, I don't know. I mean, the ability to get your opponent, getting your opponent down to 2 or less rear guards when you're playing a Kagero Dragon Empire deck is not hard, and the ability to just give them +1 soul along with giving them a crit is really, really good. So, so I play this to make up for the fact I only play 4 crits. And by playing this card, it also, by playing the draw triggers, when I draw this off a draw trigger, it kind of gives me also a crit trigger on my next turn or my next swing. So I just really like this card. So I'm sure there's probably other Overlord players that have given him a try, but if you have been building the deck and you haven't even considered this card, he was a rare from set 1, I highly suggest you give him a try because he's pretty awesome. And the next thing I'll be doing with this deck is getting the hollow SP versions of all the other of the pieces of the ride line, because these rares are not going to work. So anyway, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this. I really enjoy this version of Overlord. I think it's a new take on the deck. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad Dragonic Overlord is still part of the game. So anyway, guys, in the comment section below, tell me what you think about the deck, what you like, if you have any other suggestions for the deck, if you have any questions. I always like to hear what you guys have to say. Hope you're all doing well. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and remember, we also have a Telegram chat now. If you would like to join, just go to Telegram, download it. It's free. It's called Shinaki's Friends, and you're more than welcome to join. We small group, but we do talk about Vanguard from time to time and share news about upcoming things. So that's always fun. So I hope to see you there, and hope you enjoyed the video, and see you guys next time.